discussed about some of the terms related to lenses, is it not? So we have learned about center of curvature, radius of curvature, then principal axis of the lens and also optic center of the lens. Next, 3 more terms have to be learned regarding lenses. The next term is principal focus. Now any type of lens, if you take either a convex lens or a concave lens, because it has 2 refracting surfaces, it will have 2 principal foci. Understood? It will have 2 principal foci. In even lower classes you have studied about mirrors, there you have learnt about only 1 principal focus. But a lens will have 2 refracting surfaces, so it will have 2 principal foci and they are named as F1 and F2. Now here I have drawn the necessary ray diagrams to know which is the first focal point and which is the second focal point for a convex lens and a concave lens. Now consider a convex lens. See here, 2 rays, the rays which are coming from a point on the principal axis of the lens, after refraction they will run parallel. Okay, once again I repeat, the rays coming from a point on the principal axis of the lens, after refraction they run parallel to principal axis of the lens. This point on the principal axis of lens is called the first principal foci. Okay, it is called the first principal focus and it is named as F1. This is for convex lens. For concave lens, you just see here, the diagram is a little different. The light rays which are coming towards the lens, towards the focal point, understood? The light rays which are coming towards the focal point, after refraction they will run parallel to the principal axis. Now these 2 rays if you produce, you can observe that the 2 rays appear to meet at a point on the principal axis, but actually what happens when they are incident on the lens, they will undergo refraction and they will run parallel to the principal axis. Right? Now this point is called the first principal focus. It is called the first principal focus of a concave lens. Now coming to the second principal focus, here the ray diagram I have drawn. See, parallel rays means rays which are parallel to principal axis. After refraction they converge at a point and this point lies on the principal axis of the lens. That point is called the second principal focus. It is called the second principal focus of the convex lens. Okay, and when it comes to concave lens, again see here, rays which are parallel to principal axis, when they are incident on the lens, what happens to them? They will diverge and they are moving away from each other. If you produce these refracted rays backwards, then they appear to meet at a point on the principal axis of the lens. So from this point, you will feel as if these 2 rays are going out. They are getting diverged, is it not? Now this point on the principal axis is called the second principal focus of the concave lens. So the first principal focus and the second principal focus of the convex and concave lens will be different, and you have to remember about both the principal foci for both the lenses. So necessary ray diagrams are given in the textbook, and I request you to follow the necessary ray diagrams and also practice those ray diagrams for your further study. Okay. Now this is about the principal focus. So basically there will be 2 principal foci, one is F1 and F2, both for convex lens and the concave lens. So the ray diagrams will be different only, and remember, whenever you draw the ray diagrams, don't forget to write the arrowhead. The arrowhead will indicate the direction in which the light ray is traveling. Now coming to the next term related to lenses, the next term would be focal plane. Focal plane. Now, what is focal plane? Focal plane is the imaginary plane passing through the principal focus. Now, see here. This is the principal focus. Now, you can imagine a plane vertical or normal to the principal axis like this. You can imagine a plane normal to the principal axis. That plane which is normal to the principal axis and passing through the focal point is called the focal plane of the lens. And because any lens has two principal foci, we will have first focal plane and also second focal plane. Now if you take the first focal plane, it is the imaginary plane which is normal to the principal axis and passing through the first focal point. Understood? So that plane is imaginary and it will pass through the focal point and it will be normal to the principal axis. So even for the second principal focus also, you can imagine a plane normal to the principal axis and passing through the second focal point, that will be called as the second focal plane. So here also you can imagine a plane normal to principal axis and passing through the second focal point, which is called the second focal plane. So basically there will be two focal planes, first focal plane and the second focal plane. So this is about principal focus and focal plane. The last term which you have to remember is focal length. And focal length is denoted by the letter small l. Understood? It is denoted by the letter small l. Now what is focal length? Focal length is the distance between the principal focus and optic center of the lens. Now here two principal foci are there. You can consider the distance between the first focal point and optic center is called the first focal length, and the distance between the second focal point and the optic center is called the second focal length of the lens, and it holds good both for convex and concave lens. So in general I can write the distance between principal focus is denoted by the letter F. Principal focus and the optic center is called the focal length of the lens. And remember, either you take a convex lens or a concave lens, they will have two principal foci. So the distance between the first focal point and the optic center is called the first focal length, and the distance between the second focal point and optic center is called the second focal length of the lens. Understood? So these are the various terms related to the lenses and are very important, because whenever we construct ray diagrams, when we start studying about the formation of image in convex and concave lens, you need to remember all these terms and draw the ray diagrams accordingly. Okay, so please go through your textbook, learn to draw the ray diagrams for the various terms related to lenses, and even be thorough with the definitions of all these terms. We shall continue in the next session. Thank you, children.